call the meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Port Clinton City Council regular scheduled meeting on May 27, 2025 at Port Clinton City Hall in the Linda Hartlob Chambers. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance and a moment of silent reflection for those protecting and serving our country.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Would the clerk please call the roll? Oh, sorry. That's okay.
Beth Gilman.
Present.
Margaret Phillips.
Present.
Richard Morgan.
Present.
Avery Robinson.
Excused.
Pat Hovis.
Present.
Jerry Tiroli.
Excused.
Kathy King.
Here.
Thank you. Council, you previously received the May 13, 2025 regular meeting minutes and the May 14, 2025 special meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
Madam President, I move for approval of the minutes for both of those meetings.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. King. Any discussion? I have a motion by Ms. Phillips, second by Mrs. King to approve the meeting minutes from the regular scheduled meeting on May 13, 2025 and the special meeting on May 14, 2025. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. The minutes are approved. The chair notes that certification has been made regarding compliance with the rules and notifications of this meeting. We have a guest presentation this evening. David Kennedy, PhD, Associate Professor of Medicine at the University of Toledo. He'll be discussing the HAB Community Health Study.
Thank you very much. Where's the appropriate place to?
You may
There's a
stand
podium
at the
there.
podium or where you're comfortable.
Okay, super. I'll stand at the podium. I just want to say thank you so much. It's my first city council meeting.
Welcome.
A little nervous. But I just thank you for the opportunity to talk about the study that we're doing. So we want to talk to especially the citizens of the council of Port Clinton and the citizens of Port Clinton about this study that we're doing. And if you're going to have the next slide, I can.
2 seconds.
If it's easier, I can advance the slide. I can stand in the back.
Nope, you're fine.
You're good.
I just need to make this so people can read it.
Okay.
You give me 2 seconds.
Sorry about that.
No worries. This is normally where our students go to sleep. So the study that we're talking about is called the Great Lakes Aerosol Monitoring Research, or the GLAMOR Community Health Study. So this study is a community health study focused on understanding how airborne toxins from harmful algal blooms may affect the health of people who live, work, and recreate near the Lake Erie shoreline. And what you can see on the slide there are the counties that where we're performing this study, mainly Lucas, Ottawa, and Sandusky counties. On the right-hand side, you can see the physicians and faculty members who are involved in this study and taking care of the people that participate. Next slide, please. So participants in this study provide simple samples of breath tests, nasal swabs, and they also complete some surveys. And the goal of this study is to protect public health by identifying who is at most at risk and how to prevent exposures to harmful algal blooms. Next slide. So why are we doing this and why does it matter to our community? So harmful algal blooms have increased in our region and frankly all over the world over the last 20 years. Next. So communities in our region are especially vulnerable due to the annual harmful algal bloom that occurs in the western basin of Lake Erie. So this is a local issue with very real health consequences. Next slide. So the GLAMOR study is funded by the National Institutes of Health and the National Science Foundation, and it's led by our group at the University of Toledo in partnership with other public health departments. And the goal of this is to provide evidence-based strategies to 3 things: prevent, diagnose, and treat illnesses associated with harmful algal bloom exposure. So the key there is we have a lot of anecdotal evidence or the sort of evidence from case reports and things like that about illnesses associated with harmful algal blooms. And what we're interested in is really, doing a thorough scientific study to understand what are the risks, who's at risk, and then again, how do we identify people who are potentially vulnerable to harmful algal bloom exposures, and then prevent that, diagnose it, and treat it. Next bullet point. So the more residents, obviously, who participate, the better we can protect the vulnerable populations, like the children and elderly, and those people who may have pre-existing diseases. So when we, asked the NIH and the NSF, National Institutes of Health and National Science Foundation, to fund this study, one of our commitments was that we would get out into the community and be as inclusive as possible, so that we're making sure that the people who are in the community who are concerned about this are actually able to participate. So this is part of the reason why I'm here today. The next slide. So what do we do, and who can participate? So this is anyone is eligible to participate if they're 10 years of age or older. They have to live, work, or recreate near or on Lake Erie in those the counties there, Lucas, Sandusky, and Ottawa. And then there's a couple of other criteria that I won't get into in great detail, but essentially, this is the study is pretty wide open to members of the community with very few exclusions. Next slide. So what do? One of the main things that we do is we try to assess what's going on with people's health before, during, and after harmful algal bloom season. So we meet 3 times a year. Study participants fill out surveys so that we know how often and when they're in or near the lake. We perform tests of lung function, and then optionally patients can participate in providing samples, biological samples for us. So we take nasal swabs. It's like we're essentially rubbing like a Q-tip around in your nose, almost like a COVID test. Nasal brushings. They can provide blood and urine samples, and then also we capture breath samples as well. Next slide. So what do we do when we measure lung function? There's one of the tests is called spirometry. So that measures how much air you can blow out of your lungs and how fast you can do it. So it's a pretty simple test. Next slide is the exhaled nitric oxide test. It's very similar. You're essentially performing the same act of breathing. But in this test, we measure a compound called nitric oxide, which helps us understand inflammation in the lungs. Next slide. We are able to actually collect breath from participants, and that way we can measure the things that are in the participant's breath, the different molecules or markers that may indicate exposure to harmful algal blooms. And last, is I mentioned the nasal swabs and brushing. So this is a way that we can collect mucus and cells from the linings of the nasal cavity, again, so that we can understand what's going on in these patients at a cellular level. Next. So where do these study visits occur? The one, obviously, is our main campus in our Rupert Health Center, which is at the University of Toledo Medical Center in Toledo, Ohio. But we also, again, to make things convenient for participants, we have a mobile health unit, and that's shown in the picture at the bottom. And currently, right now, we have 2 locations. One is out in Oregon, Ohio, at our Lake Erie Center. And the other is now the Fort Clinton City Hall. Thank you very much that was approved. So we'll be scheduling patients to come out here, and that mobile health unit will be able to sit right out in the parking lot outside of the City Hall. So we really appreciate that, because we have a lot of patients actually who are interested, but obviously it's a haul to ask them to come 3 times a year to Toledo. So this helps us to lower that barrier for them. The next slide. So how can you help us get the word out? Any mentions that you can give in newsletters, websites, social media, etc. Any flyers that you can post. I brought flyers today with me that I will leave with you. And it explains the study, has a QR code, et cetera, to help get the word out. And next, to connect us with any local partners. So if there's any neighborhood associations, churches, schools, service clubs, anything that that you know the community a lot better than we do. So anything that you suggest, we're happy to follow up on those community leads, things like that. Next, amplifying this through the city department. So if there's any particular departments in Portland that we should be connecting to, or public health or environmental staff in the city, we're happy to talk with those folks. And lastly, just to use your own voice to encourage people to participate in this, because again, the broader that we get in terms of participation, the better that the study actually reflects what's going on in the community. So last is just again, this is a slide that has, I'll leave that flyer with you. It's got the QR code, and I'm happy to take any questions about the study, and just interested in how we can get information to you and partner together to help promote participation in this community health study. So thank you for your time.
I got a few questions.
Sure.
Okay, you say you have anecdotal evidence but no real evidence of any dangers caused by the algae, and that's what this is for, correct?
Yeah.
Why do you believe there, I'm not saying there isn't, but what has caused you to believe that there is a problem that needs study?
Yeah, so when I say anecdotal evidence, the evidence that we have comes from the things, so there's a couple different levels of evidence as we build up what's called evidence-based medicine. And the first, those anecdotal experiences are things where a patient comes in on a one-by-one basis, and then we collect information from those patients about what's going on. So at the medical center, we have patients who have come in, children, adults, et cetera, and then as they come in and we diagnose and treat them, some of the times we can write that up and get that out to the scientific community. So those are the sorts of one level of evidence. The other level of evidence that we have is so one of the things that we do is we model what goes on with these exposures. So when we want to understand how something is, if something is toxic, there's a couple different ways that we can do that. There are, one of the things that we do is we use cells, so human cells. So for instance, in this study, we collect cells from people's nasal cavities and things like that. And we can grow those cells in culture. And we can actually biopsy and grow up cells from lungs, and then we can expose those cells to the different toxins. So this is a way of ethically understanding, what are the effects of a toxin on an organism, particularly a human. So that's one way that we've done this. We have a lot of evidence from that, what's called preclinical evidence, that the toxins cause inflammation and other injury to those kinds of cells.
And you assume it's an aerosol, which you assume it's something arising from the algae itself. That's what you're testing?
So yeah, that's a very important point. So one of the things, because we want to be evidence-based, so we want to measure and understand what's in the aerosol from these. So there's a couple different routes of exposure, right? You can drink it in the water, so exposure can occur from that. You can have it, touch your skin, so there's dermal contact, and then aerosolization is a third route of exposure. So yeah, those we're interested in.
When you say near the lake, how near is near? A block, a mile, 20 miles?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So we understand that aerosols can travel from the lake at least 30 kilometers. We're interested primarily in this study. So in getting those participation for those people who are within a half a mile from the lake. So we're going to focus on those people within a half mile. But yeah, we understand that the aerosols can travel farther, but that's where we're focused.
And the whole point of this is to find out if we are having significant troubles and measure it, and then you can do something about it.
Exactly.
I mean, I always thought it just made the water look ugly. I didn't want to go in it. I didn't realize there were any possible, you're not sure, but that's the point of this. They're
That's,
possible.
exactly, yeah, I mean, we have enough, we have obviously enough evidence to form a hypothesis.
Right.
The hypothesis, though, still needs to be tested. So one of the things that we're doing, I think is really important. So I teach in a medical school. We have, 180 medical students every year. And I know that I can, anything that they, that I tell them, they'll take seriously. I need to make sure that we know cardiovascular disease is one of the #1 killers, so I teach in the cardiovascular curriculum. I need to make sure that all those students, after they, take my classes, understand how to, diagnose and prevent a stroke, a heart attack, all those things. And that they have that information in their head. There's lots of things that are, coming at them all the time. So as it relates to this study, I think it's really important that we're giving the students the best evidence as possible. I have no interest in scaring people, and saying this is,
You just want to know.
yeah, exactly. We just want to know, and then and it really comes, from our own experience. There's so many people who call us, patients who call us and say, I think this happened. I'm not sure. And one of the things is we don't really have good diagnostic tests. If you can tell somebody that they weren't exposed, that's almost as powerful as telling them that they have been exposed. So I think there's that aspect, because ultimately you want to get the right treatment to a patient in an appropriate fashion. And I have no interest in having every doctor in the world create a treatment plan for harmful algal blooms if that's not the problem. But if it is, in those cases where it is, I want to make sure that we have the right tools to help them. So.
Okay, finally, last question, I promise. These are NIH and NSF funded. We all know that those are undergoing cuts. Is yours still there?
Yeah, as far as we know, it's it's still here. They have not told us cease and desist, so we're plugging on.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
Yeah,
Sorry
thank
for your
you.
time.
I would like to know what year you began this and how many people are involved at the present time.
Sure. We began this so we received funding last year. We started the study around July. We have about 20 participants so far as of last year. There's certain ethical considerations that I'm not allowed to know exactly what's going on because I helped direct the study. But approximately that's the ballpark that we're in, and we're looking to enroll about 200 patients or participants in the study.
And then how long do you think this will go? Is this a 1, 2, or 3, or 5-year study?
So it's a 5-year study. Yes, we'll follow those participants over 5 years.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He asked the question I was going to ask.
That's all right.
He's been sitting there too long.
Okay, does anyone else have any questions? Well, thank you for your presentation.
All right, thank
And
you
you are
so
more
much.
than welcome to stay, but we would understand if you'd like to leave.
I have an accompaniment here who I promised a perch sandwich at the Jolly Roger. if he took the trip with me, so.
Okay, well, enjoy, it's very good.
Thank you to Sandy. So I'll leave these with you, Sandy.
Yes,
That's
please.
great. And just thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And we're happy to come anytime, any updates, and if you need to email or whatever, happy to talk with them.
I'll make sure you
Thank
get
you
a
so
copy.
much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Take care.
I'll have these to you.
Stuff up. Is this yours? Joe Brennan. Is this David's? Oh, yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye-bye, thanks for coming.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Do we have any public comments? No. Move on to executive officers' reports. I don't have anything this evening, council. There are no new ordinances or resolution. Although, under consideration, there is a transfer of a liquor permit from Celio Grande LLC, doing business as Rose's Bar and Grill, to R Square Hospitality LLC, doing business, Poseidon Lounge. There's no objection from anyone on this, and it's just a transfer. They purchased the liquor license, so. Okay, that's all I. Yes, yep,
Is that the old, is that the Rosie's?
yes,
Okay.
downtown.
This is Something else going in and they
Yes.
just assume, okay.
Yes, they bought the liquor license from Rosie's Day.
Okay.
Okay. Treasurer's report.
Want me to act like Mike today?
Yeah.
So far, rental registrations are collected for the year are 24,700, which leaves us 40,300 from our expected revenue. And dock tax collected this year is $3,725. And our bed tax collected is $45,746. So it looks like we're right on target for our budgeted amounts.
Okay.
What was the first figure? Did you say that we're
We
expecting?
have rental registrations.
I was gonna say something else.
Okay, because I was like, what?
Please note that last year was the
Yeah,
initial
the 300.
registration for everybody, so that number that he provided, 40,000, is way high. We only have like 2 people that haven't registered from last year, so, and new ones that are coming, so we are the registration probably cap.
Okay.
Because the registration
Was
for the
the-
renewal is only $100 per renewal.
Okay.
Okay?
That makes sense.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, thank you. We go city staff, committee reports, finance, Ms. Hovis.
Nothing tonight.
Safety service, Ms. Phillips.
Thank you, Madam President. You received a note that I sent on the last meeting that we had, and I have given that information also to the chief of police, so he has it, and we did not have to vote on anything, but as you noted by the thing, you have to keep your vehicles parked at least 30 feet from stop signs. It's already Ohio Revised Code and Portland Code. So we did talk though about having the curb yellowed. So, and I got down on the ground and I looked. It had been yellowed at one time because there were some spots left on it from the paint. So I think we're good. And I did see people parking there this weekend illegally.
Economic and community development, Ms. Gilman.
Nothing today, Madam President.
Thank you. We'll move on to correspondence. Under correspondence, we have the Finance Committee meeting minutes from April 29, 2025, Safety and Service Committee meeting minutes from May 7, 2025, Architectural Review Board meeting minutes from May 8, 2025, and the Ohio Division of Liquor Control notice of legislative authority, change of liquor permit from Celio Grande LLC, doing business as Rosie's Bar and Grill, to R Square Hospitality LLC, doing business as Poseidon Lounge, from 117 Madison Street, Fort Clinton, Ohio. Does council wish to take any action as to the correspondence?
Madam President, I move we waive our right to a hearing for the Ohio Division of Liquor Control notice of legislative authority, as stated.
Second, thank you. Any discussion? Okay, I have a motion by Mrs. Gilman, second by Mrs. King, to waive a hearing in reference to the transfer of the liquor license as stated. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Margaret Phillips.
Yes.
Pat Hovis.
Yes.
Kathy King.
Yes.
Richard Morgan.
Yes.
Beth Gilman.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carried by a vote of 5-0. Does council wish to take any further action as to the correspondence?
Madam President, I move to accept the rest of the correspondence. All correspondence as indicated.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Hovis. Any discussion? I have a motion by Ms. Phillips, second by Mrs. Hovis, to accept the correspondence as stated. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries, and the correspondences are accepted. And as I stated, we have no readings of ordinances and resolutions. Move on to business from the floor. Mr. Morgan?
I got nothing tonight.
Thank you. Ms. Phillips?
Thank you, Madam President. Went to the Walleye Festival over the weekend. I think this is the best one we've had in many years. It was organized and it was neat.
And it wasn't underwater.
Didn't
It wasn't underwater, wasn't too hot, windy, but it was excellent. I hope they're able to do it again next year.
Thank you, Ms. Evans?
I went to the Walleye Festival too. It was really good. I just had a lot of people complain to me that there was no place to sit so they could eat, so like I don't take care of that.
Thank you.
And that's all.
Thank you, Mrs. Kane.
Nothing.
Thank you, Mrs. Gilman.
I echo their sentiments about the Walleye Festival and kudos to Main Street Port Clinton and Nicole and the job that they do pulling that off. I know it's no small endeavor. We did, because sometimes there's picnic tables in the center, we did sit in the beer tent, which was fine, because there was plenty of seating in there, and I did have my share of festival food. I did not get the Mayor's Bourbon Chicken, because the line was around the corner, probably at least an hour long when I was there one of the nights, so next year I'll get it. Nothing else, Madam President.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no further business, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam President, I move this August body adjourn.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. King. I have a motion by Ms. Phillips, second by Mrs. King to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Thank you, we're adjourned.
My screen saver.